to hear Martha's town hall meeting. I hope it brought you questions, tough questions, trick questions. Martha has some answers for us. I was looking on the internet today, and I saw her picture with the young gun. Martha is a young gun. All right. And and she is quite handsome. We are fortunate to have her. We had an outstanding ballot this year. And certainly Martha is not among the least. She headed our ballot. I won't say that. But we are happy to have you here tonight, Martha. Thank you so much.
I'm going to try to do my best to position myself where I can try to look you all in the eye. So this is going to be a treat, but I'll just kind of turn, and if you can't hear me, say we can't hear you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy lives to be here tonight. Your presence here is a demonstration that you not only love our state, but you love our country, and you want to be an informed voter on November the 2nd. And so thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you for a little bit, but more importantly, thank you for giving me the opportunity to listen to you. What is so effective about this type of meeting, a town hall, is for me to understand what is on your mind and your heart, what is bothersome to you about the direction that our country is headed. And I'm sure we could stay here for a lot longer than 1 hour to discuss those things. So, but out of respect for your time, we're going to go here until about 7, and I just want to say I make myself available to you if your question isn't answered, either by telephone or in person, whatever works. A couple of thank yous. Of course, thank you to Judge Booth and Mrs. Berry and all of the people and my new friends, Mike and Krista, and for letting us hold this here at this wonderful place. Thank you for everyone who had a hand in putting this together. I had no idea that there would be such a lovely spread. So please feel free. This is a casual environment to get up and get more, or get you some more to drink. Certainly I will not be offended by that. I can always appreciate that. So what I want to do though first is just talk to you for a minute about what I have seen as I have traveled throughout these 16 counties over the course of the past year, and what I'm hearing from you as being the most important issues as it relates to our federal government, or rather our federal government's failure in so many areas, leading us down a path that we would all like to see changed. I have 4 priorities in what we've called a roadmap. The first, of course, is jobs. Secondly, we need to have a smaller, more limited government. Thirdly, Washington is broken. We must fix it. And lastly, we need a stronger America, both at home and abroad. So if you'll just give me a few minutes, I'd like to touch on the 4 of these things and then open up the floor for questions, comments, whatever you have on your mind. The number 1 issue as I travel around this district is jobs, or the lack thereof. If what has happened in Washington is working, then why are there so many people out of work? Washington's plan to fix this economy clearly isn't working. All we have to do is look at the unemployment rate right here in Alabama and all across our nation. We know that if we put money back into the hands of those who have the ability to create jobs, that's how we get the economy back on track. However, what Washington has done is put forth one piece of job-killing legislation after the other, whether it be health care or cap and trade. Now they're talking about pushing through this card check. All of this is creating so much uncertainty in our workforce that even those that have the ability to create jobs are fearful to do so because they don't know how it's going to affect their bottom line. What is the federal government going to do to me? let's take a closer look at health care. I would submit to you that what's going on in Washington has nothing to do with health care reform and everything to do with government takeover of our lives. And every day on the 24/7 news cycle, each of us learn about some other way that this health care bill is going to negatively affect our bottom line, whether it be in our home or in our business or elsewhere. I have signed a pledge that if given the opportunity to represent you in Congress, I will vote to repeal this bill. We need to throw it out the window, and we need to start from scratch and start looking at common sense principles that allows the free market to drive down the cost of health care and not be dictated to us or mandated to us from the federal government. Permanently extend the 2001-2003 tax cuts. We need to repeal the death tax. I tell you something that, and I've signed a pledge to do that as well, so you have my oath on that. I'm really, really concerned, especially for us right here in Southeast Alabama, as to how what's going to happen on January 1 is going to affect our family farms and our family businesses from being able to be passed down to the next generation. A lot of folks here in Southeast Alabama are land wealthy but cash poor. And when the time comes to pass that on to the next generation, they're going to be unable to afford to do so. This is a huge concern and one that just goes to really what the bottom line is, and that is we must win back a majority in the U.S. House of Representatives so we can elect conservative leadership to get our country back home. Secondly, I believe in a smaller, leaner, more limited government. And we all talk, cut, cut, cut. We need to cut spending, but don't cut me. And I can provide you with the best example of my record by pointing you to my record on the Montgomery City Council. I just left a few minutes ago a budget meeting with the council and the mayor going over this year's FY budget, where we are actually going to reduce spending in Montgomery by another several $100,000. But I will tell you, last year I was happy to support a budget where we cut $8 million out of our spending and put $4 million in a reserve fund, and we did it all without raising one single tax, and we did it all during the worst economic crisis this country has seen during the Great Depression. My friends, this was not easy, and I'll get to a minute about being a city councilwoman with your home telephone number in the phone book, but let me tell you, I heard from people who were going to be affected, whether it be the ballet or whatever might have been cut, a substance abuse program that had always been funded. But that's not the city's first and foremost responsibility. The city's first and foremost responsibility is to provide a clean, safe environment for you to live and raise your family and go to work. We need our federal government to tighten its belt just like we're required to when we don't have enough to make ends meet in our homes and in our municipalities and our local governments. Because by law, we're required to do so. And certainly in our homes, we must do so as well. I tell you all of this to say it can be done, but it takes someone who is willing to stand up, that's tough enough to say, I know this is going to hurt, but it's what's right for our country, it's what's right for my two children, Margaret and George, and their children. We need a smaller, leaner government. I believe in that. I believe in lower taxes, and I believe in personal responsibility. And we need to focus in on electing leadership who understands that we must tighten our belt in Washington just like we do here at home. Thirdly, Washington is broken and we must fix it. And what I'm talking about is transparency and accountability. Ms. Pelosi said this is going to be the most transparent Congress this country's ever seen, and she very promptly slammed the door in our face and said that